as promised last week, we're going to talk about The Exorcist Season 2. I already used Alfonso and Ben last time, so I'm not going to use them as cast members in my quota of this week. But they are joined by Brianna Hildebrand, John Cho, Zuleika Robinson, and Alicia Witt. And like I said last time, the first season was, let's follow up with Reagan and then set some, intrigue, some conspiracy stuff in with the church, and we'll see what happens next year, sort of move forward. And we start in the middle of an attempted exorcism on someone who doesn't matter after the first few episodes, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much. But we're also introduced to Andy Kim and the foster family that he has. He's got a load of kids that he's taken in, whilst also not grieving, I guess, in many ways for his wife Nicole. He's almost throwing himself into the work rather than processing that. And an old flame in the form of Rose comes in to assess, because she works for Child Services, I think it was. Something in that field. It's been a few weeks since I've watched it, I'm sorry. But, she comes in to try and help out and make sure that everything's running. But there is one thing she says where this kind of place needs multiple people running it. You have one guy, this is a hard sell. But you can tell that he really wants to do the best for the children. And that comes throughout. Unfortunately, we learn that one of the children isn't real. There was a shot in, I want to say maybe episode 2, 3. It wasn't past that. I don't think it was episode 1. But it was definitely in those first few where it's framed as he sat on the right side, facing to the right of camera. And he's meant to be talking to Grace. But she's in the reflection of the door next to him. So she's reflected on the left side of the screen. So they're both technically looking the same direction because she's not really there. I loved the shot, but I never pieced it together. I never clicked that the shot had that purpose to it. But once it clicked, I was like, of course, that's brilliant. I love it for that. And again, it's what they did so well in Season 1. They did so much setup and some good misdirection that when you get the reveal, even if you've kind of figured it out, you go, oh. Because I was thinking back, I was like, do any of the other kids interact with Grace? I don't remember seeing them doing it. But it didn't click at the time. As soon as Verity walked into the room, and it was all, the paintings were there was rotten food, because Grace wasn't really there eating it. And then the following episode where we see the reality and what Andy's seeing, I just loved how well it was put together. I do think some of the makeup on John Cho was a bit ropey. I don't know what happened between seasons. Some of that didn't work so well for me, but his portrayal of Andy under possession worked so well that it didn't matter too much. But we also had the coinciding story of Mouse and what she was doing with the church, in this kind of almost like a secret service trying to right the wrongs in the church alongside Father Bennett and things like that. And the idea that, I didn't mention it last time, the idea that, if there's possession and there's integration. And if someone's integrated, apparently there's no coming back for it, or from it. But it has been done. And this is where I think a lot of Bennett's character dwells, because there is a former exorcist who was really well renowned, who seems to be integrated, and he's doing what he can to try and prove that she can be separated. And there's a lot of conflict there. The one issue I have with this season is I think, as much as I did enjoy it, I think there was too much of that church stuff, in a sense. I think I ended up tuning out a few times, and I was like, oh, the foster stuff is happening, okay. But it took me a while to get back into it, so I missed some stuff, and I don't feel like as much as I know I enjoyed it, I don't feel like I got as much out of it. But I'm also but I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed there's a lot of pieces that work in this. While Season 1 worked overall, pieces work in this more than others. I don't know if that's a reason why it was cancelled. I've not looked into that because I didn't want to, get myself depressed. Because I know a lot of things are cancelled when they could have run for a while. But I don't know if it was viewing figures, maybe people dropped off because of that conspiracy stuff. As much as I enjoy it, I just thought it didn't really go anywhere interesting. They could have done something much different. It could have been better. But like I say, if we'd have had a season really focused on Andy and the kids and Grace and all of that, this was a really good portrayal of grief, in my opinion. I do find it very compelling to watch this as that, as a treatise on unprocessed grief, because that's what allowed the demon in. I get it. It's well done in that but it just didn't work so well overall. So yeah, overall, 2 seasons that I generally enjoyed. I do think it could have done stuff better, particularly in the second season, but I like the idea of trying something different, not just retelling the same story, trying to do something original in this world, in this setting. And I know I've talked about it, about it a lot and spoiled a lot of the big things, but that's why I put a spoiler warning up at the start of the videos. But if you've watched this far and you want to have a look at it, or maybe you haven't watched it for a while, because again, it's still the better part of a decade since it's been out, so come and watch it, and even knowing it, see if you can kind of see how they piece it together. Because yeah, overall, this is a very interesting supernatural, religious-based horror series. The horror was there, the heart was there, and I really enjoyed it. So we'll pick up something next week, not sure what yet, but hope you'll join me for that and everything coming after. But until then, as always, thank you for watching, and take care.